Hey, folks.
Hiya.
So welcome along to another episode of our monthly now Azure Community User Group. So we had planned two speakers tonight, Nick, but unfortunately one of our speakers, Amy, couldn't make it. So we have Daniel, who has the stage all to himself. I'll do a quick intro and let him talk about himself now in a moment. But it's going to be all.
So before we get started with the welcome, I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone. So hope you have a good Christmas and New Year. So I hope to bring more speakers and for everyone to learn this year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, absolutely. I've nearly forgot now. I've said it so many times in the last 2 weeks, but absolutely. Good shout, Nick.
Okay, so let's just go to the intro before we start. This is a 5-minute intro. Okay, right display. Okay, this one.
Yep.
Yeah, so meet the team. So I'm Nicholas. I'm currently a Microsoft MVP in Azure. I'm a senior platform engineer working for Microsoft partner in Belfast in called Canis.
Yeah, and my name is Kevin Green. I'm an Azure MVP and the Azure practice lead for a company in Dublin, Ireland called Ergo.
So the code of conduct as always, so all members of this group should abide by this code of conduct, be friendly and welcoming to everyone, be patient, be thoughtful, be respectful, inclusive, be open and curious, and always try to ask questions to understand something and not to criticize each other. Would you like to do this one?
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned, we've got one speaker tonight. We've got Daniel Rabiencny, who's a Microsoft Learn student ambassador, data and AI enthusiast, and also an associate at KPMG out of the Czech Republic. So Daniel's session is about AI in Microsoft Azure and what are the options, basically. For our next event, we haven't got it fully confirmed yet, but we're looking to lock down, I think, James Reeves, Nick, and Jack Walsh.
That's coming back. So James is doing a session he's a data engineer. He's doing a session on crafting data magic with ADHD powered focus or detecting insights, embracing the chaos. That's a long one. Sorry. And Jake Welch is he's doing an introduction to Azure Terraform if no one used Terraform before.
Awesome.
So let's bring in Daniel. Hello, Daniel.
Hey, Daniel.
Hi.
Hiya.
So I'll just share my screen.
No worries. So you got no time limit. You can take slowly as possible since it's your first time. So it's his first English non-speaking one because he's from Czech Republic, so it wouldn't count it.
Perfect. Daniel, while you're setting that up, if there is any questions that come in from the audience, do you want us to present those questions to you during the session, or do you want us to hold off on them until after your session? I'll check.
Okay.
Daniel, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I'm just trying to share the screen.
No worries.
Bit of a hard time, but
You just click present on that window and just share the browser itself. I think that might be easier. Share screen and then click the entire screen. That might be better.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do now. But I'm clicking share, but it somehow doesn't work. And I'm just trying to figure out why.
If only there was anybody technical available to try and figure this out. Okay.
You're free to come out and rejoin again, just in case.
Yeah, just rejoin, Daniel, just in case. Sometimes it can be a little bit buggy like that.
Okay, I'll try that.
While we're waiting on Daniel to rejoin, as usual, welcome to anyone new who's in the chat, and please do drop in your comments or any questions. I'll check and confirm with Daniel when he's back whether he wants the questions during his presentation or whether he wants them at the end. If there's anything myself or Nick can help with in relation to the subject, obviously we'll try our best to answer those queries as well. So don't be shy. Add your comments in.
Just to let you know, all our sessions are recorded on our YouTube channel. So if you want to go back in previous session, if you missed one, you can just rewatch it anytime you want.
Yeah, spot on. So.
Okay, let me just add it now. There you go.
Yeah. All right. I'll just try it once again.
It may be a properties you allowed to think because I don't think it's me. It still work. Or is it your browser?
I think it's my browser blocking it.
Okay.
Right?
Try a different browser, I would say. Or like try Edge or Chrome.
Yeah, you know what? I'll try to present the presentation from the browser. So just sharing the browser.
Okay.
Okay. Just one sec.
No problem.
If not, you can share your entire screen. Let me just do something.
So. Right.
We should see something because I don't think it's me because you can see when I share. Someone joined.
Hey, folks, for anybody who's just joined, Danny just having a couple of small technical issues. We should get sorted in a few minutes.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, so let me just quickly add it. There you go. So no one miss anything.
No, we're good.
So now is the presentation visible?
Yeah, we can see it.
That's great. So hello everyone. My name is Daniel Rabiencny, and today I will tell you about basically the possibilities of using AI in Microsoft Azure. First of all, a few things about me. I'm a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, so it's basically a community by Microsoft for students to educate others and mainly themselves about Microsoft technologies. It's a very similar community to the Microsoft MVP community. These two communities are actually very close to each other. And apart from that, I'm also a data and AI consultant at KPMG Czech Republic. So in my work, I get to see lots of approaches to data and AI that the customers that the customers have, and that the ways that the customers want to go. And last but not least, and I think that this one is the most important one here, is that I'm a Microsoft tech enthusiast. So I've been in the Microsoft tech field for, I think, 3 to 4 years now, and I like to learn the new things, the new updates that come up, and basically like the things that are discussed in this field. So the topics that are we going to discuss today, my session is going to have mainly 2 parts. The first one is going to focus on the why you should or why cloud is the great way to use AI and to leverage AI. And in the second part, we'll look closely to AI in Microsoft Azure and discuss the options we have. I will have a couple of demos to show you. So the session should bring you the knowledge about what options are there, and if you want, if you decide to go any of the ways, then it should provide the guidance on how to start. So we'll all go through that. So first things first, why AI in the cloud? Well, nowadays we see more and more complex AI models that require more and more expensive training. In the terms of hardware, it's about buying very, very powerful graphic cards or GPUs that are getting more and more expensive. And also, when we train the AI model on our local machine, the problem with that is that the machine may stop working completely, or it may break down over time, decreasing the ability to actually train our models. So we don't want to completely rely on the machines that we use. We want to use the power of the cloud to bring the machines for us, for the models to be trained or used. And in terms of money, we only want to pay for the power that we actually use. And in the terms of cloud, this system is called pay as you go. And to close this up, we live in very, very rapidly evolving times. So we want to be able to when we want to use AI, we want to be able to use it quickly and also as easily as possible. And that's what cloud brings us. So what about AI in Microsoft Azure? There are basically two approaches that you can take. It really depends on your scenario, on your project, but whether or whatever your project is, the approaches are going to be either you want to just quickly leverage the AI capabilities in your project, in your end-to-end solution, like an application or a web page. So you can use a group of services called Azure AI Services to actually give you the possibility to leverage AI in your end-to-end solution. So, for example, if you want to use GPT models, you can make use of this service called Azure OpenAI. I actually have a demo on Azure OpenAI and how to leverage GPT models. It's a straightforward consumption through API, so there might not be the need for you to be programmatically able, but you can you have the opportunity to leverage also called the SDK, software development kit, for you to bring AI into your solution. So this group of SaaS services is called Azure AI Services, but there is also this platform called Azure AI Foundry, which is a fairly new thing that was announced at Ignite, I think a few months back in November, if I'm not mistaken. And what Azure AI Foundry is it's basically a platform for you to manage your AI project. So your project might for example, your application that you built might not only be about the AI model that you use in it, but the AI application has also other features and other capabilities. But in this platform, you can manage the AI features of the application, basically. The other approach that you can take, if you don't want to just leverage some AI models that are pre-trained, you can if you're tech savvy, you can train your own AI models. That's also the possibility. So when you are a data scientist or an AI engineer that trains his or her own AI models, then you want to be able to have this platform where you can manage the code, not only manage the code, but also make make the model that you train more sufficient and more accessible. And that's what Azure Machine Learning platform is about. So the difference between the Azure AI Services and Azure Machine Learning is that Azure AI Services is a SaaS offering. It's basically a service that you and you pay for the consumption. And the Azure Machine Learning for managing the AI, the code to train the models. It's a PaaS cloud model. So it's a platform for managing the code. So you only pay for the computing power that you use, either it be a virtual machine or a cluster. We'll get into that, what a cluster is in terms of machine learning and training model. And yeah, you can make use of the platform, which is basically an interface. I'll show you that as well. So starting off with the first approach with the Azure AI Foundry. Like I mentioned, the Azure AI Foundry is basically a platform. It was formerly called Azure AI Studio. So Azure AI Studio has been there with us for some time, but it has been rebranded into Azure AI Foundry. And like I mentioned, it's basically a platform for you to bring AI and to manage AI in your solutions. What you see here on the picture is basically what the Azure AI Foundry enables us to do. What you can see here, I don't know if you see my mouse, but at the top you see this model catalog, which is a very, very powerful thing, because thanks to model catalog you can make use of many models that are used on the market. It's mainly in the category of large language models, so the models that are the most modern and society now mostly talks about. So you can easily leverage the GPT models made by OpenAI or other open source models made by Meta, for example, or many other. There is a lot out there. And in the middle, you see, I'd say the main capabilities that this or the most powerful capabilities that this platform can give you, because the solutions that you make there can leverage Azure OpenAI, which is one of the flagship services now in the Azure AI field. You can also make use of Azure AI Search, which is when you make an Azure AI Azure AI Search solution. It's basically about, for example, bringing documents that you want to go through. So you have many documents, and you want to quickly search in those documents. So what this is about is basically about vectorizing the documents, and then the solution is mostly paired up with the Azure OpenAI service, or basically an LLM capability. And Azure OpenAI and if you pair up this LLM capability, for example, offered by Azure OpenAI service and by Azure AI Search, then you get a solution called you might have heard about it, Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG, which is basically about having a chatbot that you can chat with and chat about the documents that you vectorized using the Azure AI Search. So companies use that a lot. I can see that in my work that mainly in the law field, this is very popular, because the law firms the lawyers want to search through the contracts and find some similarities in the contracts. So that's why it's used a lot, and that's why Microsoft brought this up in this announcement slide. Another thing that you can do in Azure AI Foundry is preparing an Azure AI agent service. So if you follow the latest trends of AI, you might have heard about the agentic framework. So it's basically about it's basically a solution where multiple agents perform multiple tasks. So it's this clever application where that leverages multiple AI models basically, and it's a very trendy topic. And last but not least, Azure Content or Azure AI Content Safety. Azure AI Content Safety is mainly about ensuring the governance of the models, and to promote ethical aspects of AI into your solutions. So thanks to this content safety, you can fine tune your or make your LLM model, GPT model better or more safe by banning some bad words or something like that, which is one of the things that you can do, and basically make it more friendly. Let's put it this way for your end users. And all these capabilities are, or the keystone for these capabilities is observability. So you basically want to govern, monitor, evaluate the AI models that you use, the AI capabilities, and you want to have it at one place. So the Azure AI Foundry basically enables you to summarize this, to build your solution, whether it be a GPT chatbot application, and then be able to observe or govern the solution as a whole. Azure AI Foundry itself has also an SDK, which is the thing that you can see on the bottom left here. So when you work with the platform, there are many possibilities to work with it with code as well, and of course there are integrations to GitHub or Visual Studio, and also a thing called Copilot Studio, which is also a Microsoft platform to build clever chatbots. So this is basically the vision. By this slide, I wanted to bring to you the vision of this platform as a whole. And here I provided a link to the actual tech community site, so you can read more if you want to. Now I would like to show you the actual demo of the platform. I hope that you are able to see it, even though I turn off the presentation. Can just someone tell me if it's visible?
We can see it, Daniel.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just didn't hear. Is it visible?
Yes. Oh, good.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that I'm not presenting something blank. So I'll just maybe start in Azure. Start in Azure to show you how it looks like when you want to actually create the Azure AI Foundry or the Azure AI services. But before it loads, I'll just start with the platform as a whole. It's basically a service, this Azure AI Foundry, as any other service that you would create in the cloud. And when you create this Azure AI Foundry service, this is how the platform is going to look like. So what you see here, you have many opportunities what to do here. The main thing that a lot of people make use of is the thing that I mentioned, the model catalog, which is basically about using the most known LLM models on the market and bring them into your solution. I actually have a demo of how it can look like, but more on that later. If you want to play through with the models, you can use this playground tab. So I have this chat playground to play through with my LLM model, or I can play out with also other models, AI models that are designated for speech capabilities. But there are also many other capabilities like this images playground. So you're also able to leverage some models, for example, to classify images or detect objects in images. You can do that, and the full offerings of what you can what models you can create and leverage should be here in the AI services or Azure AI services tab. So what you get in this Azure AI services tab, you get the documentation for if I would click for example on this vision capabilities. So vision is about making a computer vision solution. So like I mentioned, to classify or detect objects in images. I would then choose a use case, for example, to understand content or to extract some things from invoices, and then I could get the documentations, for example, for the SDK to actually use it in my solution. Or some use cases like this content understanding. I don't have a demo of this prepared here, but if you create a content understanding solution, it's basically about also it can be leveraged also to extract things from invoices. It can be done for this use case. So, for example, when you want to extract the client, the price that the client paid, or the name of and the address of the client, you can do that. And what this content understanding does, and how it differs from for example this pre-built models, this invoices or this invoices use case, is that this content understanding, even though it's in preview, it basically gives you the opportunity to make use of the multimodal capabilities, like I mentioned, the agentic approach in the slide. That's what content understanding does. So when you want to, what you first need to do is that you need to specify the things that you want to extract from the invoice, for example. And normally when you extract these things from invoices, you might want to specify the location of the things that you want to extract, and the name of the thing that you want to extract. So, for example, name or client or client address or something like that. And normally, when you use a normal extraction model, there is no understanding of the model of the things like the name of the client or the client address. Whereas with the agentic approach, you basically with this content understanding, you basically get two models in one. One model will extract the things from the invoice, so the client name or the client address, and the other model will actually semantically understand what client address is, what client name is, what price is, and we'll try to extract it from the picture of the invoice, for example. And so it's basically two models communicating, and this makes it much more powerful for the extraction use case. So this was one of the use cases that I can think of, and that Microsoft really brings forward, and that's why it's here at the top of the page. You can also work with the code, like I mentioned. So you get a full SDK to use Azure AI Foundry. I think that I have a link in my presentation that I'll share after this session. And what I also mentioned, I might not go all over these tabs that I have here because that would cover a lot of time. But what is interesting here is these My Assets. So in these My Assets, you get first thing that you get here is web apps. So like I mentioned, when you have an application that leverages the AI solution, you can also manage the application there. But I'll just point out here that the management here is mainly about the AI model in the application, not about the application itself, not about the observability, in other words, of the application, but just the AI capabilities. And of course, AI model would be nothing without data. So you can upload it here. When you upload it here, it will be saved in Microsoft Azure, in Azure Storage. So then it will be easier for you to access it. And there's also this thing called indexes. And indexes, that's mainly connected to the thing that I mentioned in the presentation, the Azure AI search capabilities, so vectorizing documents and then finding things in the documents. So indexes are basically used to vectorize the documents. So you can see here that this is very useful in retrieval augmented generation. So you can also manage it here, which is a big improvement in the Azure AI field, because we didn't used to have one platform to manage that, because in the past we had to manage the data that we use for the model and the indexes of the vectorization in separate solutions. So that's a big improvement in the platform. And when you have your own models trained or somehow brought to the platform, you can also do that as well. You can deploy the models here, or you can also register the models that you, for example, train by yourself. So in the platform that I'll show you later, the Azure Machine Learning platform. So here is just the one place where you can see the model that you used, that you deployed, and it's a possibility for you to manage it here. Yeah, so that would just be a brief introduction of the platform. Microsoft values the Azure OpenAI service because I'd say is the most used AI service in the Azure AI services family now. So what Microsoft has is a specified platform. So this is still an Azure AI Foundry platform, but it's a subset of this platform that is directly for the Azure OpenAI service. So when you deploy your own GPT models, which is the thing that you can do here, you can see that I have here 2 models that I've deployed. One is GPT-4, one is GPT 3.5 Turbo. And here you can kind of test out the models. So if I say hello, it should answer. Yeah. And this is not the end-to-end solution that you would use. This is just a playground for you to play out with the model. You can play out with the model instructions. So what is an instruction? It's basically making your model or your chatbot focus to your scenario. Here we have a general instruction, which is that the model is an AI system that helps people find information. But if I would want to actually deploy it in an end-to-end solution, I could leverage the API of the Azure of this deployment, of this model deployment, and what you can see here is basically how to do that. So you can do that in multiple languages. I have a quick demo of it, so I'll show you in a minute. So this is just to show you that you can also deploy GPT models directly in Azure and have a whole platform to manage them. Yeah. So if I went here to deployments, I would see here the exact deployments of my GPT models, some specifications, and other stuff that might be useful for me. Yeah. So that's just to show you that there is also an Azure OpenAI service platform out there. I mentioned previously the use cases that you can create with Azure AI Foundry. For example, the content understanding that I mentioned, and some of these use cases, and Azure OpenAI service use case is one of them. So creating some sort of a chatbot might have its own subset platform in the Azure AI Foundry. So it basically provides the users with the eased capability to use the platform and to manage their use case. It's not with every of the use case, but with the Azure OpenAI service, when you deploy an AI model or GPT model, it has its own platform, and the content understanding can have its own platform as well. But like I mentioned, I don't have a demo of the content understanding use case, so I can't sadly show you the platform. So now it's going to be interesting, because now I would like to show you the demo, which of the GPT of leveraging the GPT or the Azure OpenAI API, and the demo is in Visual Studio Code. So we will see if that works. So just a second. Yeah, no, not this one. Oh, now the whole screen share works, which is great. So I hope that you can see Visual Studio Code now. And what I have here is a very small demo. I don't have a whole application build up, sadly, in my pocket. But I just wanted to show you how easy it is to leverage the API. So I'm mostly a Python guy. So the demo of mine is in Python, and what I will tell you here is that basically the set of modules used to leverage the GPT capabilities is still managed by OpenAI. It's not managed by Microsoft. So when you want to use the Azure OpenAI API, you would just import this module called Azure OpenAI, but it's actually from the OpenAI library. So it's basically because OpenAI and Microsoft have a very strong relationship. Microsoft provided a lot of funds for OpenAI to develop its models. So that's why as well. If any of you have ever used not the Azure OpenAI API but the OpenAI API, you might see a lot of differences. Yeah, and basically, what the API client needs is an Azure endpoint. So that's where the GPT model is deployed. It needs an API key, an API version. Yeah, basically it's just a pure demo. So hard coding API key is not the best way to go. But I just wanted to show you the concept. And if you were to use the OpenAI API, so directly from the OpenAI side and not from the Azure OpenAI side, the only two differences would be that you wouldn't be calling Azure endpoint, but would be just calling an endpoint, and the client is not called Azure OpenAI, but it's just OpenAI. Yeah, so not many differences here. What I have here under that is a function that basically specifies the functionalities or the factors of my model. So what you see here is that there is this message text that specifies the roles that are going to be in the interaction. So it's basically mainly about the user role, but also a role that is not specified here because it doesn't have to be specified, and that is called a system role. And the system role is basically about the GPT model answering you, but also the, like I mentioned, that you can specify the instructions to the model. So you can also inject this so-called system message that will be injected at the beginning of the interaction, and the system message is basically is a set of instructions for the model that you can specify. So you are a healthcare assistant that will help me with my stuff at work. As a healthcare professional, for example, or something like that. Then you specify other factors of the model. So you specify the version, so GPT-4. You also specify there are so-called parameters. and what the parameters, what these do is that they specify how the model will behave. So I think that the most interesting one that I'll mention here is this temperature, and the temperature is about setting how the model will be basically deterministic. So if you set, it's basically a value between 0 and 1. So if you set the value, if you put the value 1 in the temperature, it would be very deterministic. So it would provide you only with the facts that it can see, for example, in the documents that it works with, and it wouldn't come up with its own word structures, and wouldn't be that creative. So for a straight scenario, when you want to work with documents containing facts, then setting a higher temperature might be the way to go. However, in case of a creative scenario, so generate a story of a boy going to a forest, then it's better to set a lower temperature for this use case, because then the model is more creative. After setting the parameters, then it's about generating an interface, which is not part of leveraging Azure OpenAI. It's not part of the documentation. It's just using this thing called Gradio interface. If you don't know Gradio is basically a library to quickly test out your AI solutions. It will generate an interface for you. You can specify how will the interface look like. So if you want to, for example, test an API here and don't want to just blankly use Postman, then you can generate an interface to make it look interesting. And I made one to make it look more interesting for this demo. So now it should work when I type hello here and submit it. Then it should output an answer. Yeah. So I think that you probably know how an API works, but I just wanted to show you that leveraging, for example, the Azure OpenAI API is a very, very easy thing to do. So that should be for my demo about Azure OpenAI. So one solution that can be an output of an Azure AI Foundry project can be a chatbot application leveraging Azure OpenAI service. Yeah, so I wanted to show you that so you can see the picture basically. So you can leverage the Azure AI Foundry platform or the Azure AI services to easily integrate AI into your solution, mainly through API. Or if you are a data scientist or an AI engineer and create the models by yourself, then you can leverage the Azure Machine Learning platform, which is mainly about looking on an AI model also as a project, but to put it more clearly as a data science project. So firstly, it's about understanding and defining the problem that you want to solve, discussing the architecture that you will use and prepare the whole project, prepare the data, which is the most important thing when training an AI model, and train the actual model, evaluate the outputs of the model, if it's good for you or not, and then deploying it to your end-to-end solution as well, and iterating the process and returning to some of its parts if some of it is not sufficient. For example, if the data wasn't prepared sufficiently, then you might want to get back to that step. And it's very similar to when you train the actual model, and not view it as a project, but mainly as a set of things that you do when you train an AI model. So firstly, you define the model that you want to use. So you might want to use a classification model, for example, like I mentioned, to classify images, but you don't want to use make use of the models available in the Azure AI Foundry platform, but want to train that model yourself. So let's say you want a classification model. So you load the data and prepare it. I think that data preparation should also be here. Hyperparameter tuning. I won't go to the depths of machine learning here, but hyperparameter tuning is mainly about playing around with the factors that influence the training. So it's based in math and statistics. It's for example, putting weights to some things that you use to train the model. For example, when you train the class with our classification example, you might want to if you look at the pictures that you use for the picture classification, some of the aspects of the picture might be more interesting than others. So by tuning these hyperparameters, you basically prioritize which features of the image should be considered more, and which features should be considered less when training the model. So then comes the actual training, evaluating the model, and making the model available to predict, to generate results. And in the world of data science, and mainly in the cloud, you might come across this term called inferencing, which is basically making the model available at an endpoint, and the endpoint provides the generating or the predicting capabilities. And you can, like I mentioned, you can view an AI model as a project, but why should you do that in the cloud? Why should you manage your own AI models in the cloud or work with them in the cloud? Well, it's a big thing about data science in the cloud is called automated machine learning. And automated machine learning is basically about just bringing the data and then letting the platform do the work for you. So the things like the data pre-processing, generating features, or features are the things that you then want to predict from the pictures, for example, and then tuning the actual hyperparameters. So putting weights to or prioritizing the factors in the pictures. And then what you just do is just evaluate the results, validate the results, and say if it's enough for you or not. And if it's not enough for you, then you can bring new data and start the process again. And this process is done by the platform itself. So you can just make use of the results. And in the actual world, it's more and more used because like I mentioned in the very beginning, we want to have our AI models available quickly, and this automated machine learning or automated ML is one of the things that enables us to have our AI models ready quickly and efficiently. So I'll now show you the platform itself. It's also a platform, same as the Azure AI Foundry, but the platform looks a bit different. You can also see these tabs here on the left. Main things that you can do here. You can also leverage model catalog again. So in this Azure Machine Learning scenario, it would be about using, for example, a GPT model as a base for a model that you will tailor for your own use case. You can do that. It's called fine tuning, and it's basically a concept in data science. And like I mentioned, you can bring your own code to the platform, mainly by this tab notebooks. So what you see here is the possibility to create Jupyter notebooks in the platform. If you ever trained an AI model or work with data, in Python, you might heard about Jupyter notebooks. It's basically an interface to interact with the code. It's very specific because unlike normal interface in a notebook, you have these cells that you can run. That you can run one by one, and this basically in the data and AI world, it basically provides you to see the steps that are performed on the data. For example, if you do some data pre-processing yourself, so transforming the data, removing some things from the data, you can see it clearly step by step. Yeah, so it's a normal Jupyter notebook that I can use. It works normally. It might not actually print hello because of other concept that I haven't mentioned yet, and that's all about when you want to manage your own code to train the models and then manage the models. Then a very important thing here that you need to create, unlike in the Azure AI Foundry platform, is basically a compute. So you need to create some sort of virtual machine that will run your code and that will train your model. So when you just want to run the code and want to do some easy things with the data that are not that basically do not take much of time and are easy to do, then you can just create a simple compute instance that's sufficient for the task. But when you create or when you train an AI model, when you train a complex AI model, and in terms of data science, when we train complex data models, we talk about models that, for example, leverage deep learning, which is basically about using something called a neural network. And I won't go into details here, but when you train a deep learning model, then you might want bigger guns basically to do the job. And by these bigger guns, I mean compute clusters. What are compute clusters? Compute clusters are basically nothing different than a set of VMs together that form a cluster and do one specific task that you want to do. So when you train models that have, like I mentioned, the tuning of the hyperparameters, so you can have, for example, a few hundreds of these parameters, then it's a pretty complex model. Then using a compute cluster to train it might be a way to go. Yeah, so that's the main thing that I wanted to mention. You can also make use of other compute targets. You can use Kubernetes cluster if you want. The capability is there. You can also make use of something called an attached compute. And what is an attached compute is it's basically about when you for example have a compute created not in Azure Machine Learning, but for example if you work with data, you might know the Databricks platform to work with data. And in the Databricks platform, you can create computes as well. So to save some money, it might not be that sufficient to create 2 compute instances when you already have one running in Databricks. So you just attach it to this machine learning platform, and then you can use it. A very special thing that you can do here is basically a serverless instance. And what serverless basically is in terms of training an AI model is basically mainly used with the I mentioned the automated machine learning, and it's mainly used with that. So you might want to use the automated machine learning to do the pre-processing and training for you, but you might not want to create a compute instance for that. So so what it's actually done is that the platform actually creates a compute that is or compute power, to put it this way, to just train the model, and it doesn't create any compute instances here or any compute clusters. You use the power only for the training. Yeah, so so you don't then need to create any compute instance or any compute clusters. Yeah, and the automated ML is what you can do here. How it works is that you specify an automated ML or automated machine learning job. You put it a name. You just need to attach it to something called an experiment, and an experiment on this platform means basically playing around with the code and with the parameters in the AI model before it's sufficient for you, and that is called an experiment. So I can just call it something like test experiment. I could also give it some description. Then I can connect to my data that is, for example, saved somewhere in Azure. So I'll just connect to the data that I've downloaded or that I've uploaded to Azure storage. And the most important thing here is that I can select the task type. So what I want to be the output of the machine learning. Is it a classification? So so our example with the images, but classification doesn't only have to be with images. It can also be with text. So some sort of text classification, or a regression to predict some numeric value, to forecast some values, to use natural language processing. So when you want to use computer vision capabilities, then natural language processing computer vision is for computer vision capabilities. It was a mistake. Natural language processing is working with text. So classifying text, or finding some patterns in the text, and natural language processing, or NLP is the way to go. So that was an error, sorry for that. So I could pick classification. There is an error that I think it's because the data that I'm using is not sufficient for this task. I just wanted to upload something just to show you this process. Then, because it's a classification, I would need to specify this thing called the target column. So a target column is the thing that will be predicted. So, for example, when I want to classify text, a great example for classifying text that is used to describe the concept is classifying some paragraphs in a newspaper. So based on the text, which category would you put it into politics, into healthcare, or something like that? I think you get the picture. So when I would like to create a model that would predict the categories of the newspaper paragraphs, then my data would look like something. The actual text of the paragraph. So it could be a table. One column would be the actual text of the paragraph, and the other thing would be the category. So a text about politics has the category politics. A text about healthcare has the category healthcare. So that would be my training data that I would use. And by stating the target column, I'm saying which column should be predicted. So in my scenario, it would be the category column. So politics or healthcare. Yeah. I could also set other things like this very important part in training a model, which is validation and testing. So I could also specify steps that should happen in the automated ML job, and other things that might be helpful for me during the actual training. It won't let me go through because I don't have sufficient data to use. But just to sum this up, then it would require you to choose a compute target. So you can use a compute that you created, or use the serverless capability that I mentioned. Then you would review what you put there, and then you would just hit run, and the training would begin. It would take some time, and voila! After some time, you have a nice AI model that you can use in your solution. Yeah, so that's how automated ML works, and it's a very, very strong concept in terms of data science in the cloud. When you don't want to use code, you can use this thing called a designer, which is basically about putting the things that should happen in the training together on this canvas. So how it works is basically pulling the components from the left to the canvas on the right, and then connecting the things, collecting the components together. So in this example, I have this data of some automobile prices. Then some column gets selected. The data gets pre-processed. So some missing data is cleaned. Then the data is split, which is an important thing that we need to do when we train an AI model, is to create two data sets: one to train the model and one to score the model. And the percentage, basically something like 30% should go to validate the model, and the rest, the 70% of the data should go to train the model. So the majority of the data should go to train it, but you should leave some of it to actually score it and evaluate it. So you can see that then the model is trained using an approach, a statistical approach called the linear regression, which I won't go into here. And then when it's trained, the model gets evaluated, and you can, as a data scientist or an AI engineer, you can say whether the outputs that the model gives is sufficient for your client, and then you can use it in the production environment. And how to use it in an actual production environment? Well, I mentioned the term inferencing, and inferencing is about putting the model to an endpoint. So if I go here into endpoints, and I had a model trained, it loads, but it doesn't really matter, because I'll just describe the concept. What you would see here is basically well, the endpoints that you would use for the inferencing. You can see that I can also leverage some Azure OpenAI endpoints. So it would be the APIs that I've showed you previously, the Azure OpenAI APIs. But here in the real-time endpoints, I could also have my own endpoints of the models that I've created previously. Yeah. When I want to govern and store the models, I would do it in the models tab. I don't have a model trained now, but you can store the models here. The ones that you trained manually, but also the ones that you trained all using the automated ML. You can all store that here. When you want to manage the data used in the AI model in training, you can do that here in the data tab, and here in the jobs tab. It's mainly about the experiments, so playing around with the model, playing around with the hyperparameters, but also generally monitoring how the model behaves when you give it, for example, some specific data. And that's basically the concept that I'm talking about here are basically the concepts of data science. So this is what this whole platform is basically about. So
Daniel, thanks. That's been a really good session, and I didn't want to interrupt your session by reading out some of the questions. There was quite a few questions coming in. Myself and Nick, I think have answered all the attendees' questions. I think we've got nearly 60 folks online at the moment, which is great. For the audience, is there any new questions for Daniel? If you want to just drop it into the chat, and we can see if we can get Daniel to answer them. If there's no more questions, then I think we can wrap it up. But that was really good, Daniel.
Thank you.
We'll just give
I just have a few slides just to sum this up, if it's okay.
Brilliant.
Did you share Kevin, did you share the resources with Rabiencny?
I did. Yeah, I did. I did share them, and they've come up on the YouTube chat, but there's no sign of them on the StreamYard. So if he needs them, then he could just let us know. Sorry, Daniel, over to you. You can sum it up there.
Yep. So I'll just share my screen for a second.
No problem.
Okay. So. So just to sum this up, in terms of the capabilities that we have in Azure, in terms of AI, I think that there are two main concepts to bring home from this session. One of them is that cloud is a great helper, is a great accelerator when it comes to AI in general. And when it comes to Microsoft Azure, you have two approaches that you can take. One of them is a SaaS approach, so using one of the Azure AI services in your application, or basically in your end-to-end solution. And the other one is a more data science approach, which is about training your own models, managing your own code, and bringing your own AI models to the production. So it really depends on your role. It really depends on your scenario. But in general, I'd say Azure has your back. So yeah, it was a place for Q&A. So if there are any questions, any other questions, then feel free to ask them. And if you want to, we can stay connected. You can see my LinkedIn. So I'll be more than glad to connect with you. If you have any other questions after the session, feel free to drop them on my LinkedIn. You can do that in the messages. I'll be more than glad to answer them. And I also have other sources that might come in handy when you want to explore the platform. I might want to add some more before I'll provide the slides for you. And I should also provide a link to the GitHub repository where I have the Azure OpenAI demo that I've showed you. So that is all from my side.
Super stuff, Daniel.
I want to say a round of applause to Daniel for delivering his first session in English, other than the Czech Republic. So you did amazing session, Daniel.
Yeah, you did brilliant. You wouldn't think that was your first presentation in English, so well done. That was really good. And I'm sure you could have spoke for at least another hour or two. There's so much content and so much technology in there as well. You're literally just brushing the surface. So there's no new questions that have come in. And as you said, I think folks can just connect with you on LinkedIn. Also come back if they want to drop a comment, even in the recording here, if you're watching this back in a few days or a few weeks, and we can make sure that Daniel gets the question and hopefully we get an answer for you. Okay, I think, Nick, we'll wrap it up and let Daniel get some well-deserved rest after preparing that session. It was really great.
Okay. So thanks for joining, and stay tuned for the next episode in next month. So bye, everyone. Let me just